Welcome back to the Federal Executive Forum on Federal News Network. We're talking about IT modernization. Nicholas, let's go over to you at Snowflake. You're coming in on audio. You are certainly a seasoned pro to this program, and we appreciate that. Tell us what's going on at Snowflake these days.
Yeah, Luke, thanks very much, and hello everyone on the panel. Snowflake has made some huge changes recently, probably within the last couple of months here. We've started talking about the data cloud at Snowflake. As you know from our previous conversations, Luke, Snowflake is sort of a next generation data platform. We've got all the greatness behind a traditional database, but completely cloud-based and for the most part, cloud agnostic. But we've added to that, allowing folks to not just move to the cloud quickly and efficiently, but also to start sharing data and collaborating on data sets across not just their own business units or not just their own mission sets, but across folks that they collaborate with that are external to their agency or even external to their industry. We're seeing private data partners collaborating on data sets with the government, and we're seeing the government collaborating likewise with private industry and other government agencies. And they're doing all of this securely, safely, without having to move data and do FTP server copies, all the stuff that we've been trying to avoid for the last 20 years in IT. It's a really exciting time at Snowflake.
And you know, the fact that we now have this introduction of all this advanced technology has allowed a capability like Snowflake to, quite frankly, not only exist, but to flourish, right? And it really is impressive to see this type of capability get introduced so quickly. All right, we're going to roll over to, yes. We're going to roll over to specific successful IT modernization program project at your agency. Dominic, I'm going to start with you. Give us an example of one program that you're working on, have been working on, going to be working on, that you're really proud of, that you'd like to explain and really highlight for the community here.
Sure. Thank you, Luke. There's so many to choose from at VA that are going on right now. But as Rob mentioned, we worked together in the Pentagon. He was my boss about 5 or 6 years ago. And when we'd sit in his office in the E-ring, when he was the deputy CIO over there, we often found ourselves opining about how to crack the code on the cloud. So I think it's great, Rob's, helping with cloud technology and solutions. And I would say, as we all know, the federal government has definitely cracked that code. So I'll talk a little bit about VA's move to the cloud. Luckily, we set up our enterprise cloud platforms a couple of years ago, and we've been migrating applications and some of our backbone networking support services into the cloud. And it really helped us for COVID. We didn't skip a beat when we were servicing our, about the 9 million veterans that are in our system. And we really leveraged telework and telehealth and really got our clinicians out there servicing our veterans in remote areas. But these cloud platforms are really essential for us to scale to capacity to meet the need. So I'll tell you a little bit about what we've done. As of right now, we've moved about 113 applications into the cloud, and we've got 63 in process. Now, VA's got about 700 apps in our inventory, and wow. So that with those numbers, we currently have about 16% of our applications in the cloud. Now, that sounds low, but it's really not, because that's just the raw numbers. It's not the size of the applications. We went all in, and we moved some of VA's largest applications into the cloud, such as our Office 365 suite, including our enterprise mail for, again, our 400,000 person workforce, not including contractors. We moved our whole identity and access management solution into the cloud. Our veterans benefits management service, I told you earlier about the billions of claims we process every year. So we've got claims work going on in the cloud. So on a weighted basis, if you look at the types of applications we moved into the cloud, it's far heavier reliance and support from the cloud. We also moved many instances of our legacy Vista electronic health record into the cloud, which enables more ease in maintaining and augmenting those applications because they're more readily available in the cloud and they can scale as we need to until we get fully migrated over to the new electronic health record solution that we are working with Cerner on. For VBMS, we've got 2 billion documents in the VA Enterprise Cloud. That's a B, 2 billion documents, and that grows daily. And we're also using chatbots that are cloud powered, and setting up websites supporting some of our critical back office business functions. So I would say that's one of the biggest successes we've had in our modernization is our leveraging of our cloud environment.
Sounds like a huge success, a huge effort that you have underway there. And of course, Vista didn't realize that it was going on 30 years old, being your records management system that you're using there. That's awesome. And the cloud play these days, it used to be a real demarc, right? There's the traditional data center, and then there's the cloud. And now with this hybrid technology and containerization, et cetera, a lot of slippery capability to just kind of slide workloads back and forth, if you will, which is certainly becoming fascinating and much easier for, I think, everyone to be modernizing. Rob, since you were called out there on the E-ring, I might add, why don't we go to you and you can tell us about, what do you see? Give us an example of, an effort that's going on in one of these agencies that you'd like to highlight.
Well, I mean, there's quite a few that have happened that I think the end result of this, think of the end result of delivering mission services to constituents, right? So as Dom was talking about, this is about healthcare for veterans. So, you got to work your way back from that target endpoint to then the mechanics of the change, right? I have to enable access. I put it in the cloud. I'm gonna go from edge to AI so I can then make these informed decisions. But for example, recently, I'll go back into my Navy days before I met Dom. The Navy has moved their SAP solutions, right? The 4 biggest ERPs in the world into the cloud. Why? Very expensive operation to maintain it in a legacy on-prem network, right? Again, of a scale that is unimaginable to most organizations, moving billions of dollars through that system. Right. And so the opportunities that presented themselves were really to enable access, to enable security, to enable analytics on this information that they had, and then to obviously run the business of the Department of the Navy much more efficiently than they had in the past. We are working right now with Postal Service, for example, on moving them to the cloud, moving certain applications and data into the cloud for them, and then moving their systems or moving their framework that we've provided for them into a modern framework that we have called CDP that enables them to go even faster and more efficiently as they deal with their future.
Postal Service being another massive organization that the scope and
scale
we all
count on it as a commodity, right? It's realizing back-end office systems are the things that help keep them delivering their mail on time.
Absolutely. Heidi, how about if we jump up to you? Give us an example. I know there's a whole bunch of different activities that have been going on over there at ICE. Give us an example of one particular program that you'd like to highlight.
Yes, thank you. I think like Dom, I'm going to talk about our cloud presence at ICE. We started in the commercial cloud, established ICE's presence in the Gov cloud, and migrated all of our applications there. We are fully in the cloud and have been for over a year now. Our investigative case management system was DHS's first FSMA High system in the cloud. And we were first of the DHS major components to move all of our systems, over 150 systems, and dispositioned over 850 pieces of hardware. The cloud has really allowed us to scale more quickly, and we're able to take advantage of the state-of-the-art technologies that are there and continue to improve there. We have established our development pipeline there, and doing Sec DevOps in the cloud. But we're also focused on data analytics. Rob talked a little bit about data analytics, and We've been partnering with our Homeland Security Investigations group in their innovation lab to establish a data analytics environment that allows analysts to quickly analyze large amounts of data. We're also setting up a more dynamic data environment that allows data scientists to quickly ingest data on the fly and perform analytics in a more dynamic environment. We are using the cloud just for more pilot projects. That has, since we can spin up servers pretty quickly, we're able to, run pilots, test out a product's capability, test out the interoperability. And this also really helps us justify funding for new projects if we can, demonstrate tangible benefits in advance.
A proof of concept, always really important in data analytics and any investigative organization. So key, right? To be able to do that. Just any type of environment where you can get that time to market capability, always super important. Scott, let's talk about an example at Verizon. What's going on there in regards to a specific program that you'd like to highlight across any part of the federal market, or quite frankly, the private sector market?
Well, first of all, again, thank you. A couple of things. I mean, let's start off with the easy button. A lot of organizations say last March, had a significant change in their world. We did, Verizon did, most companies, most government agencies did, as workers went home for the pandemic. What that really did for most organizations is it really changed their collaboration flow. Now, all of a sudden, workers are connecting to the office via VPN, then connecting to a cloud-based collaboration service, and then back to the network, and then back out, via the cable modem or the FiOS or whatever other connection you want to have. So routing that traffic and deploying application intelligence is critical. And we actually worked with a large organization. Their pain point was their collaboration system was choking the network. It really was causing them a lot of pain. What we did is we actually helped them using software-defined networking to create an on-the-fly reroutable network so that as critical information began to flow through the network via the collaboration infrastructure, we were able to support that. We were able to empower the organization without stepping all over the network. And that's another piece of the puzzle as we go forward and head down this path of modernization. And so, we've got this IP we've built now. How can we help you, reroute your collaboration platform? But that actually also applies to virtually any other application an organization may have, because there are a number of ways that the organization can better utilize the network as a solution. I remember probably about a year ago, right as the work from home reality started, we were looking at a customer's data flow. They had literally about 85% of the organization had moved from on-premise collaboration to cloud collaboration. And in that process, they realized that they had actually flipped their network flow. They adopted and embraced a VoIP solution, and suddenly the voice over IP traffic was on their network. And that's why Verizon began to offer what we call SIP trunking. Well, actually, we've offered it for a long time. But it allows us to take that voice traffic, that VoIP traffic, and put it on our network, the Verizon network, versus your network. So instead of taking all that additional traffic, we help companies recreate their networks by taking their VoIP traffic, putting it on the Verizon network, and reducing that load on their network. That's a couple of examples of ways modernization works.
100%. As that work, flow, that work pattern changes, the workflow changes, right, into a different type of dynamic. And quite frankly, that happened almost instantaneously across the planet Earth. I mean, when you think about it, it's absolutely incredible. Raj, how about over at U.S. Army? You gave us the top line on several different activities that are going on. Why don't you grab one of those or another one and give us an example of an activity that you have going on over there that you'd like to highlight for us?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I'll take one that's really soldier facing, right? Because at the end of the day,
there you go. We like that.
the Army fights with the soldiers, that, soldiers are a weapon system. So I'm sure you all have seen this, but the Army is embarking on a journey to kind of upskill and reskill our entire workforce, and that includes soldiers and civilians, and to get them to be more tech savvy in future, right? And if we are going to be serious about digital modernization and we're going to use data to fight our future fight, we got to make sure that we are tech savvy across the board, not just in certain areas, not just the IT workforce, but the entire workforce. So one of the programs that the Sergeant Major of the Army and the Chief of Staff initiated a couple of years ago is a modernization of the Army's tuition assistance and credentialing assistance platform. So the Army pays out probably over $600 million in tuition assistance to soldiers, cadets, and Army civilians, so they can take college courses and degrees if they don't have one already, or can go after commercial certifications like PMP and CISSP and Agile and things like that. And so the Army had a 15-year-old system called Go Army Ed. It was a highly customized PeopleSoft system that had essentially been kludged together over the years and band-aided and running in a mainframe system for many years, and really wasn't meeting the purpose and the intent. It had gotten so inflexible and really not serving the needs of the soldiers. So the Army embarked on a modernization platform that essentially rebuilt a new system from scratch in just under a year. And if you compare the sophistication of the technology that went into it and the capabilities compared to legacy, way more capabilities, and delivered in far less time and a fraction of the cost, right? And that is only possible by leveraging, things like cloud native architectures, leveraging platforms. So even though these were customized processes, we did not want to make sure we want to make sure we weren't customizing a cost product. So we went with a platform, a low code, no code platform approach to implementation. But we also took a human-centered design approach, right? That is all about digital modernization, is how do you make sure it's human-centered and putting the soldier first, right? So it wasn't policy and regulations that drove the requirements for the system. We brought real users in on the very first day and sat with them to understand how they would use the system, how they were using, their mobile devices and apps to access it, and how easy could we make it for them. And everything else had to be transparent to the user. And so we went from a system that had 150 videos and probably 300 plus user manuals teaching users how to use, to one that is so intuitive today that just like any other app on the App Store, they can go in now and then enroll for college courses and set up their degree plans and get approvals all within minutes, and make that happen so easily for them. And while at the same time, we also saved about $20 to $25 million a year by divesting off and sunsetting a really ancient legacy system. And so we're now modernizing for the future because we now have a cloud native system that we can continue to modernize and incorporate new technologies into it, but most importantly, serving the needs of the soldier.
Boy, that's a win-win-win, and I love the idea that we're starting with the soldier first. All right, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back in a moment. You're listening to the Federal Executive Forum on Federal News Network.